Yes, now it's been announced that plans to introduce vaccine passports have been scrapped, or at least they could be. It looks like it's going that way, which is great news for everyone who was against a papers-please society. Now, I've never quite understood the point of a vaccine passport. It's a document that shows that you can still contract COVID and pass it on. So it's about as useful as Neville Chamberlain's piece for Our Time paper that, of course, ended so well for the people of Czechoslovakia and, indeed, for the rest of Europe. It's a victory for common sense, and I think we should enjoy that for a moment. But there are some serious questions that this now raises, such as, were we being lied to all along? Boris Johnson told backbench Tory MPs 2 months ago that vaccine passports may not actually come into fruition. And Dominic Raab actually said in July that they were simply being used to coax the young into getting jabbed. Well, hang on a minute. This now means that anybody who only got the jab because they believed that they wouldn't be allowed to go about their daily lives if they didn't, has essentially been coerced into putting something into their bodies by the government. That's scary stuff. Now, I know people, and I'm one of them, who only got the jab because I thought that if I didn't, I might not be allowed to come to work, I might not be allowed to go into cafes, bars, nightclubs, museums, potentially even on public transport. Who knew where it would end? So I now feel like the state lied to me in order to trick me into putting something into my body. Because that's kind of what happened, isn't it? And isn't that all a bit grim? I've got to be honest, I've had no side effects from the vaccine, and I am very happy that it exists. But I don't like the idea of coercion, and I think that's where we are. There's another reason why I think it's reasonable to suggest that Boris was telling porkies all along. He's essentially been led by the opinion polls since time began, hasn't he? He loves polls more than someone with a Spearmint Rhino loyalty card. Depending on what poll you look at, between 2/3 and 3/4 of Brits have always been in favour of vaccine passports throughout the pandemic. I mean, I believe you can trust the polls about as much as you can trust a high-pressure double glazing salesman, but they're all we've got to go off, so hey-ho. So if Boris was true to form, then surely he'd be introducing them. But he isn't, and that implies that he never intended to. It now raises a serious question about trust in this government. When they say that they're going to do something like vaccine passports and then it emerges they probably never had any intention of doing so, that's a problem. And then they say that they won't do something like hike national insurance, and then they do. That's a problem. Having said that, it's probably still better than old Captain Hindsight on the other side of the Commons benches, isn't it? Can you imagine if Keir Starmer had led us through this pandemic, we'd still be waiting for him to make his mind up about whether or not we can spend Christmas with our relatives. In fact, we should probably promote Sir Keir from Captain Hindsight to Major Indecision, Colonel Cock-Up, and right through to General Disaster. Anyway, we should enjoy the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Vaccine passports are supposedly now a thing of the past. A victory for common sense. Well done everyone who stood firm, but it shouldn't detract from the fact that this government was content to try to play Big Brother with our bodily autonomy.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.